So these videos are so inconsistent. You know what? I think that I'm committed to inconsistency. Yeah, you know, doing every week, it's just clearly it's not working. I was really good for a while when things were really bad, and it's sad because it's like now that things are getting better, I'm becoming inconsistent again. I'm not keeping my commitment, you know? They say one of my favorite quotes is there are life lessons that you can learn in the valley that you never learn at a mountaintop, or the lowest peaks that you never learn. And so it's like I think yeah, I think that I was more committed because I needed something to hold on to, something to ground me when life was really bad. Life is still not amazing, but it's getting better. And I think now I'm like, okay, I don't really need. Anyway, I am back for my supposed to be weekly video. You know what? I'm not gonna drag myself for not being as consistent or committed as I would like to be. I do my best, and here I am making another. This week I kind of read about overwhelming emotions. So I'm sorry if some of this is repetitive, if some of this seems like, oh, okay, all she talks about is feelings and whatever. I'm attempting to share information, wisdom, knowledge, whatever that I've learned that's helped me through my struggles. And like I said, my emotions being overwhelming, overpowering, what have you, is something that I've struggled with my whole life. I mentioned in a video before that I'm an HSP, a highly sensitive person. If you don't know what that is, look it up. If you have someone in your life who is an HSP, or if you might be an HSP, it could be one of the most helpful things for you to understand what that is, how to help yourself or someone else. Anyway, so my emotions are, I tell everybody that I feel like I'm 80-90% heart. Like, as much as I've learned how to master and control my emotions, oh my gosh, so much better than I used to. Every decision I used to make was emotionally based or emotionally driven, and it's not like that anymore. A lot of my decisions are still like that, and especially if it's an emotion that's overpowering, which is what I'm going to talk about today, it's more difficult, but I am just much better than I was before. So today I'm going to talk about overwhelming emotions, because I was just at work the other day and something triggered me, and I one of the best things you can do when you have something that's seeming to overpower you or overwhelm you is learn how to sit in it. You can never learn how to be better at something by running from it, by suppressing it, by pretending it's not there, by just trying to get to the other side. The best thing you can do, as uncomfortable as it is. So that's what I've learned. I've trained myself to think, okay, I'm uncomfortable right now, but this will pass. I think I mentioned it in a video before. I was watching, I think, a TED Talk or something, and they said that our minds are like the sky, and our thoughts and our feelings are like clouds. Clouds come and go, they pass. Sometimes they're rain clouds, sometimes my friend called them Simpson clouds the other day. Simpson clouds, happy clouds, whatever, but clouds pass, the sky remains. The sky is vast, clouds are passing. So, as much as an emotion or feeling, thought might be, even a situation might be overwhelming in a moment, it's going to pass. It's not going to be forever. Sadness, fear, anxiety, anger, even happiness, your emotions pass. They're temporary, and I know it's easier said than done. Like I said, I am somebody who lives within the realm of my emotions. I always have. I believe I always will. I think it's my superpower. I think it's a gift from God. However, you don't want your gift to turn on you. So you need to learn how to master your emotions, and rise above and not let them drive everything in your life, or you'll have nothing, because you can't let something temporary control your permanent and long-term decisions. It's just not a good practice. So overwhelming emotions. I think I looked up a video. I watched a video on YouTube about how to get through your overwhelming emotions, because I was at work, something triggered me, and I had overwhelming anxiety. And it happens sometimes in certain situations, and I'm like, well, I don't want to feel like this anymore, like this, like being on a roller coaster, but not in a good way. My heart starts to race, my mind, I can't think, I could barely do my work because of an emotion that was triggered by a situation. I was like, how do I get past this? How do I, not trying to get past the emotion, but how do I not feel so overwhelmed and feel this terrible way? So I looked up overwhelming emotions, and this lady broke it down into, I think it's four parts, four questions you should ask yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed in your emotions to help you through it. Um, and so the first one was, ask yourself, where in your body are you feeling the emotion? She said emotions are usually located in one or two areas of your body. Focus all your attention there. Place your hand there. Ask yourself, what are you feeling? Feel and listen. Say out loud what you're feeling. So, like I said, being an HSP, my emotions can be really overwhelming, overpowering. Um, and it's just, I get flooded with different emotions all at once. And I journaled when she asked that question, and I said, I feel afraid and claustrophobic because my emotions take up so much space that I feel like I can't breathe. My emotions become so heavy that I feel like I'm suffocating. This is me, 31, having had overwhelming emotions my entire life, and so I've learned how to communicate what I'm feeling. I'm really good with words, and so that's how it feels when my emotions become that overwhelming. It's like I start to hyperventilate, I take sharp breaths in, and I'm holding my breath, and which is all the worst things that you can do. So you have to condition yourself, and every time you choose to take a deep breath or make a better choice, it becomes easier to keep doing it. And so when I ask myself, where in my body am I feeling the emotions, 9 times out of 10 my emotions are felt in my chest or in my stomach. Which is why I've always struggled with being able to gain weight, keep it on, and why when I'm stressed, I don't eat. I'm all of like 90 pounds right now. I've been as low as 80 when I was like right before I had my son, because I think it even mentioned in the book about HSPs that I read that you probably have some dietary issues or some digestive tract issues, because when you have that much anxiety, you know how they say you worry yourself sick? That's actually a thing. So I worry so much that I either get a headache or my stomach starts to hurt. I lose all appetite. So I've had to like force myself to eat before, even though it's making me nauseous. It's just, yeah. So, where in your body do you feel it? Mostly for me is in my chest or in my stomach, maybe in my hands, because I think my hands kind of shake. My jaw for sure. I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't do that one so much anymore because I realize it and I stop. But I used to lock my jaw really bad. I actually have like little like teeth marks on the side of my tongue because I used to bite my tongue so much when I was stressed. And so one girl saw it and she was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not cool for me." Like, but I try to catch myself doing that. So if I'm locking my jaw, I'll at least try to, give a little gap between my teeth so that whatever, because locking my jaw is what causes the headaches. I learned. I used to have really bad headaches. And that came from the stress of locking my jaw, because it would put the pressure. And so I stopped locking my jaw because it started making my head hurt. And so now I try to catch myself and I try to take deep breaths, like, okay. But I can always feel it building up, like a tightness in my chest or in my stomach. So that's usually where I feel it in my body. So it will behoove you to figure out where you feel it in your body. Place your hand there, focus your attention there. Ask yourself, what are you feeling? Say it out loud. And like I said, that's why I said I feel afraid and claustrophobic. I felt afraid, I felt overwhelmed, and she said every emotion you feel, go ahead and say it out loud, even if there's 100 of them. I feel scared, I feel sad, and all of this comes from spending time with yourself. So I put my hand on my heart, I put my hand on my stomach, I take a deep breath. It would behoove you to come up with a mantra in those moments where your inner child is crying for some kind of attention or some kind of help. Come up with a mantra. And mine is usually, it's okay. And I talk to myself like this. I'll say, it's okay, Jasmine, calm down. You're safe. You're okay. You're loved. I hear you. I'm paying attention. Tell me what you need. It's okay. You're safe. Because fear is usually, you wanting to be safe. If you're scared, something's making you feel scared. Regardless of if your mind is justifying it, your body is feeling it, so it's something that's there. So you can ignore it if you want to, but if you're feeling it, that means it needs to be addressed. So I'll put my hand there. I'll take some deep breaths. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I know that sitting for me can be overwhelming, so I'll get up and I'll take a walk, whatever. Try to get outside. Try to change, what I'm looking at, whatever. Those kind of things work for me. Anyway, and then she said, "What are you feeling? Identify it, name it. Keep asking your this keep asking yourself this question until you've named all of your emotions." So you ask yourself, "What are you feeling?" Identify it, name it. You have to be able to know what you're feeling to know how to help. For me, this works especially well because if I say, "Okay, I feel scared right now," like I said, and I don't go through the whole, well, you don't have a reason to be scared. Like, I'm reparenting my inner child. So anything I feel, think, whatever, I give myself that space to accept it and address it. I don't like suppressing things. I try not to suppress things. I try not to talk bad to myself or about myself. So if something comes up, if something comes up, then I address it, I deal with it, I accept it, and I say, "This is just something that you need right now. What can I do for you?" And I think about, okay, well, what does my inner child need, or what am I craving right now? Or sometimes I'll just wrap my arms around myself. It just depends on the moment. To calm myself down, to soothe myself. Self-soothing is a very good skill to have as a person, woman, HSP, whatever. Um, so I name my emotions, and like I was saying, it's especially helpful for me because then it tells me what to do next. So if I'm like, okay, I'm afraid right now, I'll Google what to do when you feel afraid, how to help yourself not be afraid. I'll look up a TED talk on fear. I do something to address that thing so that I don't keep repeating the same things over and over. And I do that with every feeling. And then the next question was, what do you need? Emotions arise in response to our environment, often because our needs aren't being met. So, like I said, you ask yourself in that moment, what do you need? And like I said, there's no easy shortcut to this. I can't give you an answer. I can't tell you what you need. Only you know that. Only you know what's missing. Only you know what can make you feel better. And yeah, sometimes a bowl of ice cream can do it, but you're going to have to take that time and sit and be uncomfortable with the emotions that you've probably been running from all of your life to figure out why you're feeling them and what needs to be done to not feel like that, to get out of that place and out of that position. And so, yeah, what are you feeling? Identify it, name it. What do you need? And like I said, I can usually figure out, I'll go swing at the park, I'll take a walk, I'll just sit in the sun, I'll read a book, I'll call a friend, um, I'll listen to music. Oh, music is my go-to. Even if I'm just listening to like binaural beats, or I listen to like this inner child healing, like meditation music on YouTube. It's just that calms me down. I actually started listening to these sounds that help your amygdala calm down. So music for me sounds, whew, it's amazing. I don't know what I would do without my Bluetooth headphones or my phone or whatever, but even right now, like you can probably hear the birds chirping. I'm really in tune with nature and with things going on around me. I'm very hypersensitive, and my senses are very strong. So like I hear everything, I see everything, I smell everything. So smells are also a really good one for trying to navigate through your overwhelming emotions. Smell something that makes you feel better. And then 4 is, what is the most loving and supporting thing you can say to yourself right now? Offer care and compassion to yourself. So, like I said, it's about how you talk to yourself, and how you address what you're going through is going to determine how you're going to navigate through it. If you keep suppressing it, pushing it down, or talking down to yourself, or trying to lie to yourself and be like, "I'm not afraid. I don't have anything to be afraid of, blah blah blah," it's going to keep coming back up, and it's probably going to come back worse. So it's like, what is the most loving and supporting thing you can say? And I think she says something like, when you're going through something difficult, talk to yourself like you would somebody that you love. Now, I always get scared when people say that because it's like, well, from what I read on Instagram, a lot of people hate themselves now, so they, oh, good hummingbird. A lot of people don't know how to talk to themselves with love because they don't talk to other people with love. I found that the way that people treat you is usually a reflection of how they treat themselves. So I don't internalize other people's. I'm like captivated by this hummingbird right now. I found that you shouldn't internalize how other people, talk to you or deal with you because usually it's just a reflection of how they view and how they talk to themselves. So, what is the most loving and supporting thing that you can say to yourself right now? And like I said, for me, that's a big one. That's what I usually say when my overwhelming emotions happen. You're okay, Jasmine. You're safe. It's okay to be calm. Calm down. It's all right. Take a deep breath. You're fine. You're okay. It's funny because being a mother, parenting, has taught me a lot of this because that's how I talk to my son. Um, Getting him through his overwhelming emotions, and so talking to him like that has caused me to talk to myself like that. So I'm parenting him and reparenting myself at the same time. Like, it's okay, Jasmine, calm down, you're okay, you're loved, you're safe, it's all right. And then I'll go get a cup of ice or something that I do to relieve stress, whatever. um, don't do and say things to provoke and fan the flame on hot emotions. Don't tell yourself things that you know are just going to make you more angry or make you more scared or make you more sad. And you'll find everything is telling. Everything is an opportunity to learn or grow. So you'll find if you're talking down to yourself, if you're talking negatively to yourself, that probably came from somewhere growing up. It was a learned habit from something. You watched something on TV. You had a parent or somebody that you trusted teach you, like talk to you like that, so you learn to talk to yourself like that. Even as adults. So it's like you have to redo that and give yourself time and space to understand, like, it's okay to feel emotions. Um, and so I talk to myself lovingly and supportively, and I don't internalize what other people say when it's not true. Like, yes, I mess up, but I'm not a failure, and I have to tell myself that too. Like, because especially like I said, with everything that's been going on, I've been telling myself, "Oh, you're a failure, and you're this, and you're that," and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not those things. Like, how did I even start talking to myself like that? And it's because if you don't deal with those emotions, they come back up. They're ugly. They make you feel bad. It's not a good look. And I put at the end, when your emotions overwhelm you, they overpower you. So you got to find a way to not let your emotions overwhelm what you're going through in that moment, and especially, and I'm talking to myself too, don't let your emotions dictate the decisions that you make. Now, it's good to follow your intuition, your gut. I trust my gut because my gut has never been wrong, but you gotta not let it overpower you and overwhelm you. Still use logic, still be understanding, and understand that everybody's hurting and everybody's trying to deal with something the best way they can in their own unique way, even if that way is hurting you. Like I said, if there's nothing else, do not internalize what other people are going through. Yes, somebody may hurt you. Even if somebody says something mean to you, about you, whatever, they lash out at you, I always say what Susie says about Sally says more about Susie than it does Sally. Yeah, so just be careful with the words that you speak because they come back around to you. How you speak about other people, it's got to be coming from somewhere. And that hatred that you feel or that you spew towards someone else, it's gotta come out of you to manifest onto someone else. So just be careful because how you treat other people is honestly how you're treating yourself. Um, yeah, so when your emotions are overwhelming, you gotta sit in it to know at least what your mind or what your heart is asking for. Um, yeah, to be able to navigate through it, and then before you know it, that emotion is gonna pass. It doesn't seem like it is. In that moment, whoo, it did not feel like it was gonna pass. It felt like I was gonna feel like that forever. Like the worst roller coaster I've ever been on. Like, God, how do I get off? But it passed. And here I am to tell you this is what you can do so that you feel better. And hopefully that helps somebody. Like I said, I'm just navigating through this life, sharing what I come across. And that's about it. I'm going to try to make another video next week for it's become more like self-care Saturday than self-care Sunday. It used to be Sunday, but now it's like it's becoming easier to do self-care Saturday. So self-care Sunday, self-care Saturday, same thing. Either way, yeah. So stay happy, stay healthy, keep loving yourself, keep growing. If you have questions, definitely reach out to me. Like I said, I'm no expert. I'm not a doctor, but I do know a thing or two about healing. I do know a thing or two about love and loving yourself, and I will help the best way I know how.